Hey folks, we're back with a relatively recently released indie retro-style shooter by Kruger Flint Productions, who were kind enough to provide a key for the purposes of this review. Is it a hidden gem or an unholy hellspawn? This is the good, the bad, and the bland of Bloodhound. So Bloodhound's gameplay loop is pretty straightforward. Progress forward until enemies pop up, kill all of them with your varied arsenal of weapons to proceed, find guns, occasionally flip a switch or find a key to progress, repeat. Simple, but not necessarily a bad thing for this style of game, right? Well, about that. There's not really a lot of mechanical or plot things to talk about without discussing the specific things I liked and disliked, so I guess we should just hop into the breakdown points, starting with the good. It's short. I feel like Bloodhound's biggest downfall is that most of the weapons lack a sense of weight or impact to them. For example, the machete animation and sound effects feel like ineffectually waving around a baton. Which is unfortunate because I also found it to be one of the strongest weapons available for a good portion of the game. Why shoot an enemy with an ineffectual revolver or a shotgun that'll take multiple shots to kill basic enemies when you can just charge at Mach speed, circle strafe them, and kill them in one hit? The only times I tended to use other weapons was either just for a change of pace, or if the enemy was flying out of range, which does not happen as often as one would think or expect. The exception to this is when I got access to the final weapon, the energy gun, which happens around halfway through the game. This weapon recharges its own ammo, albeit slowly, instantly kills any normal enemy, and absolutely chunks bosses at all times. But it still feels and sounds like it lacks punch, unfortunately. Now let's talk about everything else is unfortunately just very average. The levels and their design is fine, the music is fine, the enemy variety is fine. It's perfectly acceptable but does not last in any significant way in my mind. Enemy animations can feel a little janky but not bad enough to be a detriment. Textures for enemies and levels occasionally had some pop-in problems but not frequently enough to be a real bother. Collision can be finicky once in a while but never really stopped the flow of things. The bosses were not particularly interesting but did their job well enough as a challenge point, at least until the railgun entered the equation. It's all just fine. Also, a minor annoyance I had was the lack of information displayed upon pickup of objects. Your only means of knowing what ammo you picked up was to cycle through your weapons to find out if the thing you just picked up is revolver bullets or rifle ammo, or knowing if that key you picked up is the green, blue, or red key by trying them on the locks. Not a big problem, but most retro shooters I've played and seen tend to have a text prompt of what you picked up to let the players know what they're picking up. With that out of the way, let's hop over to the conclusion, shall we? To me, Bloodhound mostly felt like a game trying to hit the notes of classic boomer shooters, but just slightly missing the marks in most of the attempts. But it doesn't feel like there's a lack of effort, and from what I can see the devs are at least trying to improve the experience since launch. But I have to talk about it as it is currently, and not how it theoretically might exist in the future. And currently I feel like there's quite a few better options out there for this genre, but if it looked like something you might enjoy and don't mind its short amount of runtime or are willing to see where it goes, then you can probably have fun with it for an hour or two for relatively cheap. Maybe wait for a sale, though. Anyway, thanks for watching, and until next time, take care.